Today we wanted to focus on using LTX Studio for commercial purposes. So think of creating an advertisement. I think that it's most helpful. I think honestly, LTX Studio is the best tool in the world for quickly prototyping ads. And I think as the quality improves, it's getting better and better at using it for final pixels. So for like an end result. I think through the course of this year, you'll see it get good to the point where more and more brands will be exporting assets from LTX Studio or just whole videos to use them in social content, market-facing content. But for now, we're seeing a lot of brands, ad agencies, small businesses use it for things like prototyping things they want to produce, maybe using it to get a high fidelity brief to a creator or a video editor. So you can really, with a fine-grained detail, show what type of content you want to give to someone, like a content creator or an editor. And I think honestly, there's a parallel on the entertainment side because people are using this to prototype shows that they want to be made and they're getting them sold in. And so I think this is a really powerful way of course, like it's great at making movie trailers and things, but we'll show you how to center it around other types of commercial purposes. So, less operating in like the dream world, more operating in something you'll put out to market. There are, of course, limitations to AI video. But we'll talk through like common ways to get around that or how to deal with it basically. So I think part of working with AI in LTX Studio in general is that it's about embracing happy accidents that occur when you're prototyping content and also working around problems so that if you encounter something, knowing that there's a few different tools in your toolbox to go around that problem and to tackle it in different ways. But ultimately, embracing it as a rapid prototyping tool and embracing the glitches as versus trying to get everything pixel perfect in a rigid way. I think you'll get the most out of these tools when you work with them in that way, in like a very creative and elusive way. But as I go through this, please let me know if there's something that's been really impeding you, and we can talk about areas of development where LTX Studio is going to be focusing in the near term. So, 1 second. Oh, thanks, Brent, for the heads up. So, yeah, as questions come in, I'll try to answer them live. 1 second, I'm reading this one. So there's some questions over from the Discord channel. Shout out to that, by the way, if you haven't joined. I think we're at like 40,000 members. It's popping. So we wanted to look at image to motion prompting tips for LTX Studio. Okay. Um, prompting, actual prompting to get results. Okay. Yeah. So basically stable, like getting stable motion action in prompting. I'll show a few ways around that. And in general, it's worth noting, I think one of the cool things about this product is that the pace of development is crazy fast. I've been in technology working with product development for over a decade, and I can't say I've seen anything move as fast as this industry and as fast as the product we're building. So in general, we're constantly looking at giving you more control over things like characters and better quality over things like motion and the actual foundational results. That's why we released our own video model, LTXV. And that combination of like giving you speed and agility, but the control and the quality, we're trying to hit that magic triangle there. So we can talk about areas of development, although I can't spill the beans on stuff coming out soon. Okay, so let's dig into this. Feel free to keep dropping in more questions as they come to mind and as I share my screen. Cool. So to start, let me share this and make sure I'm on the right page. There we go. And 1 second. You all should be able to see this. And actually, let me share it with sound. Give me 1 more second. Okay, that way when I go to play stuff, you'll be able to hear it. Cool. So let's dig in. And then apologies if I don't get to questions in time, like if I don't see them because now my screen's full bleed. But I'm also trying to work on my laptop instead of at home. I have big monitors that help a lot, but this is more realistic maybe. So you'll get to see, I think a realistic way of recreating something. So to start, I'll mix things ranging from basic instructions to more advanced instructions. Please feel free, like based on the tenor of the audience, feel free to like drive me one way or the other if you want me to focus on kind of the fundamentals or if you want some more advanced tips. But I'll try to work them all the way through this. But without rehashing too much, I think most people are familiar with this page. This is the home screen where you can initialize a project. You have your past projects down here. You can start something from scratch or start with a prompt or the script. But just real quick, I want to show one random example of something I'll recreate today. I'm not going to play this because I don't want to get like this is all just for fair use. I'm not trying to actually recreate something, just showing you some inspiration. But if I click over to an ad out there, for example, like this perfume ad, people are pretty familiar with this type of stuff. It's a lot of imagery, some real world shots of someone. So we have a guy in the city, you know who he is. I don't know if there's a copyright thing there, but a guy in the city, in a dark city, driving out in the middle of the night, going to the desert, kind of getting some freedom, and I think they're trying to evoke those feelings. And you're seeing some nature and some wildlife, and then if you prompted this image in AI, you probably think it was a glitch, but they're embracing it in real life. So we got some wildlife incursions. We got him digging a hole, putting his possessions in there, his jewelry, and maybe out pops some perfume. And now we have this ad. So the inspiration musically, like sonically, is like blues rock. So I'll play a few seconds just so you can hear it. And also, give me a thumbs up if you can actually hear that because I shared sound. I just want to make sure it's coming through. But like that's the inspiration. So we can look at different types of perfume ads and I'll make something else later. But if we're doing something like this, how do you, if you're brainstorming an ad like that and you're maybe giving it to a creator or a producer, cool. Thanks, Brent. Looks like the tunes are working. So, let's say that you have an idea for something like this and you want to mood board it. When we talk to a lot of brands and agencies, their current process for mood boarding is like stick figure drawing, and that's not sufficient. Or they borrow like an expensive editor or animator's time to prototype stuff, but there's a wide gap between your inspiration and the technical teammate producing something. So if you want to just like storyboard out a visual, how do you do that? A lot of people might you could put in something to ChatGPT and it kicks out a script. So people upload scripts often, but you can give it something pretty simple and lean on the AI to help flesh it out quickly or start from scratch. Here, I'll do something really simple. I'll just say, um, a man in a city, I'll say New York City, in New York City at night. I'll say Mark Thompson. Uh, Um, I'll say like the scene opens on let me see, and a man, Mark Thompson, um, is playing guitar in his basement. He's tired of the city, so decides to drive all night out west. We see him driving through oil fields, Texas, and encountering some wildlife. Maybe we open up to he then walks out to the desert and digs a hole where he buries his watch and jewelry. Oops, man, I can never spell, especially when people are watching. So buries his watch and jewelry. Um, in the sand, he discovers a perfume, LTX. The scene ends with I'll say also when he drives out west, we see him, I'll say in the morning, driving through. Okay, so scene ends with the um, sky fading to orange and then dusk with the sky passing quickly overhead until we reach midnight. Um, Yeah, let's just end it there. Okay, so I typed up something pretty quickly. You can obviously get a tighter script. You can even take something like this and put it into ChatGPT, but honestly, that's what this product is doing. It will take this and use large language models to distill it down into a script. So we do that for you here. If you don't have an idea, you can go through these examples, and there's some like examples here just to get you initialized and started if you just want to play around with it. But just type in a blurb here. You can do different settings like short film, commercial. I think the vibe that these perfume companies go is kind of like a short film, even though it's commercial. Um, and you can do a custom format if you want to have something particular. And note that if you have a commercial, you can edit things like the main message and a call to action at the end, for example. Maybe I'll add a title scene at the end, but I'll do it manually. But so I'll just do a short film, and I don't really have any special requests, so I'm just going to click next. Once you let this initialize, it's going to, what it's doing here is thinking through your storyline. It's trying to make sure that it's getting like your synopsis correct before it then breaks it down into scenes. It's almost like chain of thought. Basically, it's saying, okay, here, like if I understood this correctly, here's a couple more ideas. But here we have a weary musician strums his guitar, perfect, feeling trapped in the urban grind. Nice. Oops. Um, there. He journeys into the desert. Cool. Um, it's really a lot of imagery in this text. He symbolically buries his jewelry. I should have him buried his phone, huh? That's more, it unplugs better. But so it basically ends with these visuals of the sky. I mean, it gets most of it, so that got what I want. I think I wanted. Oh, it has the wild deer grazing. Okay, cool. Although maybe it'd be like a coyote, but we can change that later. So cool. It's got what I wanted, and I think in general, LTX Studio does a pretty remarkable job at understanding your kind of shot breakdown. I've not really had too many issues there. Let me know in the Q&A if you have. Um, but it does well there. I think what I would also advise is when you're going to create something, start first with breadth and then go for depth. And so what I mean is there's different ways of approaching this, but what you'll see me do is I kind of scan through the project to see if there's anything obviously out of place. And then once I get like a basic draft there, then I go through and like massage the details. So here I have the scene breakdown. Looks good. I just have three main scenes. Mark in the basement, driving through Texas, perfect. The desert catharsis, awesome. Catharsis is a great word, by the way. Maybe that should be the perfume name. But so once I create this, it's going to give me my major outline, and I'll highlight a few things. I don't know how long it's been since any of you logged into LTX Studio, but we're changing things constantly. Some of the tweaks, for example, you'll notice when I initialize a project, it won't by default create all the images. Part of this is really just a way to save you compute power. We know a lot of people in the free tier are conscious about using their compute power, or like their seconds that they're allotted. So it'll create this first one, but if you notice by default, it doesn't generate the other scenes. So what I'll do is I'll let these load. I mean, it can load synchronously, but I'll generate these shots and these. And so now we have our scaffolding of our project. And okay, immediately what I'm seeing here is I kind of want an established, there's too many shots of Mark playing guitar, so I'm going to delete some of them. And then I like the oil scenes, but I need a shot of him leaving the city. And I also I'm gonna clean up some of these shots. I think there's a lot. We really try to break down the scenes, but I think you'll need to go through and delete some that don't make sense. And then what I'm also gonna do is create an opening shot, like an establishing shot of the city at night. So I'm gonna create something here. I'll just say New York City at night, dark, gleaming, and cool. So I'm just gonna create this quick location. I just want like, oh, and you'll notice it'll auto enhance. So I didn't write any of these, obviously, but it auto enhanced that. So I'm gonna click apply. And then I'm just gonna say like an establishing shot. By the way, one thing people don't know is you can type in anything here. So you can type in something even if it's not listed in these previews. So I could type in something like I'm not very creative, but I don't know, a 360 spin around, and it might not get it, but you don't have to pick from the pick list. You can type in something random there and see if it can get it. But I'll say an establishing shot, the New York City skyline. Maybe I'll say um, cars driving in USC at night. And I'll say maybe I want this one from above. Um, bird's eye view. Yeah. And then let's have our character arrive on like a helicopter. Let's say helicopter, oops, copter lands on a rooftop, and maybe I want a shot of a tall building. Uh a tall building um from below. Cool. So we're getting there. Although I kind of want it even darker, but we can adjust that. And these are kind of similar. I'll say from far away, because I want like this really establishing shot. Um, and then rooftop. Actually, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna delete some of these because it might be overriding. So I'll say New York City at night. Actually, I'm going to delete lots of this because I just want to have more flexibility with my location. Sometimes, by the way, if you have a location that's too rigid, it will push everything in that realm. So beware if it's auto enhancing, that can hurt things. So if you notice here, now I got the shot that I wanted, this skyline from far away. But if you notice before with the kind of auto enhance thing, it wasn't giving me what I wanted because I was too locked in to specific scenes. So that's one thing worth noting. There can be a downside to that. So a tall building from below, cool. Panning up, and then a rooftop. I'll just say our helicopter. Oops, helicopter landing on a rooftop, and then okay. So we got our establishing scene here. Let's see what the helicopter looks like. And I might have. I kind of want a different one. I might have. I'll duplicate this, and then I'm gonna have our character come in. And so, one more. And then our cast is here. I only have one character, Mark. Maybe, I want to edit something here, like maybe I want his outfit to have maybe a leather jacket too, or something. So you can keep enhancing this character to get the vibe you want. Maybe I want him wearing all black to look even cooler. Um, and so uh, sometimes you need to edit everything. Like remember, it'll kind of auto enhance. Let me actually delete some things here. Fitted black tee, I like that. Distressed blue jeans, um, black boots, and I'll say black leather jacket. Um, Casual, cool. And yeah, in a few notes, you can enhance the character in the same way, but beware if like you're enhancing it and it's like um, kind of boxing you in again, like I said. So now our character has the jacket. Cool. I like that. I'm gonna apply that, and remember that'll change to all of your shots here. So we have the helicopter, and then let's do a close up, actually, and then I'm going to duplicate this and have Mark walking out of it. So we're kind of establishing here, and then we've got our scenes. And while these are loading, sometimes, like as I'm building up this, I'll just start generating the motion to see how the initial one is looking. This is perfect. That's what I wanted. Note that the scenes where there's hands are going to be more difficult than like the establishing shots and things. And so we'll talk around a few ways of handling that. But there's too many shots here. I'm going to delete some. I just kind of want to see what they look like before I delete them, but I'm gonna delete probably like 5 of those. And I want this other scene of him driving out from the city. So I'll say, I'll just say, yeah, Mark uh, drives away from New York City at night. And I didn't put a location there, but let's just see what it does. You'll notice, I think for folks that play around with a lot of these tools, there is a really quick time. Actually, I'm just gonna say muscle car driving. I'll say black muscle car driving away from New York City at night because I don't really need Mark in that shot, and then I'll probably do a close-up shot, um, and I'll do a close-up here. There, cool. That's what I want. That's what I wanted. But you'll notice how quick it is to create things. I think that's the power of LTX Studio is it's really powerful for this rapid prototyping and building up your vision. Here I'll say with Mark Thompson getting off. So I duplicated a shot and then I just added my character, and that can help it be a little more consistent. And over time we'll continue to improve things like scene consistency, but right now use uh, the location setting there to get what you want. Cool. So let's start. One also fun thing I should note is I think people know here that you can use the preview button to preview the whole project. And it'll say like, hey, you have 32 static shots to generate. And it can take some time to load all of that. But here you can preview a single scene. And so I might do that to preview the motion. And I didn't play around with the soundtrack yet, but I'll show you a few tips here. So this has an acoustic one. Let's see what it sounds like. That could work, but it's a little too classical. And so I want to show two options here. You can go through here and you can do like blues rock. You can type in anything here and get sounds. And we've showed this before, like we've showed stuff like that before, but I don't think we've showed using the upload feature before. So I want to just call out, like, there's plenty of different tools to use this, like uh, um, Suno, Udio, sorry. And you can pop open some of these and get something. So here, just on the train in, by the way, I did this for an hour, so I'll show you what I was able to accomplish in an hour at the end. I just wanted to show something realistic. But here I just put blues rock, slow down, minimalistic, instrumental, and these are the first two that came. These last ones have lyrics. These are the first two I did it with instrumental. So I'll play one, for example. Oh, here, let me start it over. There you go. Cool. So you want something more precise, but you want to bring your own audio. So there's all these tools. I'm just doing a free plan, like I'm not doing anything fancy. There's lots of them. I know people have used Udio and other ones. And so you can take something from here. I was even using, I think, a different model. Or yeah, okay. And then I downloaded that, and I'll just show you what it's like to upload that. So I'm gonna upload this one, the Evil Jones thing I just got from Suno. Uploading it, hit apply, and then now when I preview the scene, it'll use that soundtrack instead of the default one. So you can see it here, right there. So I'll preview this here. This will take a second, but like I said, it takes less time to preview one scene than the whole project. So that's why I usually do this first. Oh, one second. Cool. Okay. Um, Hey, you know what? I'll actually put in a different. I have this other one. I'll put in this one instead and apply that. Apply this, and then uh, when I preview, I think the preview the scene, that I'm not sure if actually that comes with the music, but I know when you do the full project it does. So let me try this so you can see the music with it, and then I'll preview the scenes after that so you can just see the motion. So I'll let this load. It'll take longer. You can see the difference, like how fast the scene loaded versus this can take up to a minute. And I have a lot of static shots in here. And I'm not gonna play it the whole way through because I'm gonna keep going through and tightening these up before we play the whole project. But maybe at the end of this, we will start a crowdfunding campaign for the LTX perfume, and whoever has the best inspiration for the scent in the chat will get the royalties from our newfound product. Speaking of while this is loading, reminder you can go through in the Q&A if you have any questions on what we shared so far. But I'll play this preview and then we'll keep moving from there. I'm noticing things playing through, like I haven't looked at the motion yet, but that card disappeared. I also think these open shots are too long. And I want more motion here. It's fine, but I'm feeling weird. So I'm gonna start to regenerate some of these. So I'm basically going through and seeing what I like, what I don't like. So all right, I already see some things to fix. First off, I'm gonna go in the motion editor. I'm gonna do 3-second ones because I want this to be more like fast paced. There also tends to be less artifacts when you have, and I'm gonna make this one a bit more of intense because I was a little slow. Here, I'm also yeah, there tends to be less artifacts when you have slower clips. And I do want to say, without like kind of spoiling things, we are improving the way you can do kind of the lining up of all these assets in terms of the preciseness of the clips you're generating. But for now, note here that you can do the duration here. You can use the motion prompt to describe the motion in the shot, and you have these tools over here. So I have camera controls, which I might use for this depending on how it does. So okay, establishing shot, that works. Cars, let's see. This one's pretty cool. There's not any artifacts really there. I'm gonna click that one. And then this one, I want something like panning up to say that we're going to the helicopter. So I'm going to use these scene controls here. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to do a custom one, or you can do static, but or you can do presets. So these presets will kind of help you zoom in, zoom out, stuff like that. Or you can do custom and you're just using your mouse here. So I might like, zoom up in towards the top of the building, for example. One note is that this does take longer to load. So the play preview button here is helpful. So you can see the motion because once you click apply, this type of custom control over the camera does take longer to render than you might think. Same thing with when you're uploading videos of a face motion expression, that takes a long time as well. It's kind of that custom input takes a little longer. This one's chugging along, so we'll let it play. But I also want to call out that this is asynchronous, so I can flip over to something and keep working. So to really increase the speed of your generations, I load things asynchronously all the time. I don't really wait for anything ever. There's only a few things you have to wait for. For example, I believe when you're uploading a video of like my face motion to a character, you can't navigate away, but a lot of things you can. So I'm gonna let this one load and then check out my other motion. I like these two are good. There's no artifacts. I'm gonna go with that one. This one, let's see. Um, looks a little stiff. This one's all right. Um, okay, we got our intro scene. I might even regenerate the seed prompt, but I might have him like walking down the stairs or something, but that's all right. But I might make it shorter. And then here, we're starting to get into the guitar ones. That's going to be hard. So I'm just going to generate some short clips. I might even lower the intensity of the motion prompts I give it. And then I'll just delete some ones that just don't fit with the scene. I don't really need much here. Like, if you notice from our little inspiration, there's just like a couple of shots of the city, a shot of him or two playing guitar, a shot of him driving away, shot of him in the car. There's not much here. It's a minute over a minute long in total, but it's pretty simple. So it generates a lot of interstitial shots because when you're giving it complicated prompts, it often wants to work really hard to break them down. But for stuff like this, you might want to just delete some that you think are filler, or just keep the best ones. I actually really like this as like a either interstitial or a kind of like an insert shot or an establishing shot. I might delete this one because he's not playing slide. Actually, I'm just going to delete this from here. So deleting this down here. Oops, sorry, I zoomed in. And then, yeah, that's kind of cool. A little boring. If I could shrink it down to a second, maybe I'd keep it. Probably delete this too, and might keep that. We'll see. It's getting a little long, so I'll probably delete some of these. And I might have him, for example, play guitar slower. So you can say like, Mark slowly picks at the guitar, so he's not fast strumming it, for example. So you can change the motion prompts there. And as you remember, like we had these things um, generating in the background, and so like that they were working asynchronously. But now as they're all loading, I can go through and select the ones that I want. So I'm just looking through these previews. These are fast playing previews, remember? Um, kind of like that. And so this is gonna be a really hard shot because guitar's tough. So I might again lower the intensity and say Mark slowly plays the guitar. And then get a few different previews and keep working through. There's always this dramatic, shot of just the character staring, but honestly, this one's pretty good too. So I'm gonna click that. Um, this is really good for just like the vibe. I might move these in other places. I kind of like this shot. I'm gonna change this. I want like a shot of just like his boot tapping. So I'm gonna say, I'll probably delete this, or maybe I'll just change it here. Um, uh, boots are visible, and he's tapping his foot floor. Okay, that's pretty good. I might actually just do a close up of the boots. I might even say the stool isn't visible. So I'm just gonna say Mart's boots are visible, and I'll do like a close up. Um, one second. So we got a question here on the character face consistency. Um, not up to mark. Character face consistency with upload face swap on profile shots, not up to mark. Maybe not up to snuff. But we'll talk about character consistency in a second here. A few notes. I do think that a lot of people have a character in mind, so doing like the face swap thing can really help. And I didn't really pay that close attention when we were creating this to focus on like character consistency because I was kind of drafting a concept. But that's a good point. We can look at character consistency. I can say that we have an update coming very near term, like this week around character consistency and in the quality of the shots. It's like a light medium upgrade. It might hurt consistency in some areas, but really improve it in others. I'll talk a little bit about it, but I tend to go through and also then start to look at the shots to make sure they're consistent. So like for example, here and here, looking pretty consistent, but this unnatural neck position and things, that's what the update will address. So that's coming, it should be coming this week. And so I'll go through after I kind of get my basic setup and then start to massage those details. So we'll talk about consistency in a second. But yeah, please keep asking questions if you want to know more about things like that. So I'll just mark this one as answering live. Um, cool. So going through, let's play these and just let me go through the motion editor again because I didn't pick a lot of these. Like this one, I'm just gonna delete this one. I don't need that. Um, sure, we can have that. I might delete it later. This, let's see. Yeah. So again, here he's playing the guitar a little more slowly as we asked. This is kind of a cool shot to use as an interstitial to like get us down to the basement. So I'm gonna put that somewhere else in the video. Here he's more slowly picking the guitar. His hands are a little skewed, but again, one thing you do is change the seconds to 3. Just we're gonna make it easier to truncate the parts that are good and versus bad. But right now, I would just shrink the whole clip, and you can see them load pretty quickly. That's okay. Let's see about this one. That's good. I like this one. So I'm gonna do this one here. So that's pretty good. There's not many artifacts there, even with something so hard as clicking through. I don't really need another shot of Mark, so I'm gonna delete that one. And cool, we'll wrap up with just like a vibe shot of that. But then we'll have him driving out. Cool, that looks good. Um, I want a shorter shot of him just steering. And then driving through Texas. Um, I might have a shot of just like a car on the road before this, but I don't need so many oil spill ones. I'm gonna probably delete this one or oil rig ones. I might put that one first, actually. Hopefully, you're seeing like how I kind of go through a project to just get the scaffolding first, and then we'll go and kind of mess with the details. I'm shrinking all of these because I just want to make the project shorter. I don't need so many driving shots, so I'll delete some of the ones I don't like. That's kind of a happy accident of and I'm gonna probably redo the seat because this looked a little weird, actually. Let me go here, redo this one. That's kind of one of the happy accidents of when you get so many shots. If you don't really have a complex shot breakdown and it gives you so many options, I just generate them and see what works and delete the ones I don't like. Then you can keep the rest. Okay, we don't need so many more. I'm gonna delete this one. Now we have the let's just delete this one too. We have Mark getting out of the car, um, walking over to sand. I'm gonna put a shovel in his hands though, because he's gotta be. I guess he's digging with his hands, but let's give him a shovel, right? So I'll say steps out of the car. I'll say um, with a shovel, and let's just see how that simple prompt does. Then I don't need this one too because I'm just gonna have him start digging, and then no, I want him actually digging. So visible as he starts digging with his metal shovel. Cool. Let's generate that motion. See what these look like. So I guess we can have him craft the hole, but I'll say the shovel is beside him. And then here's where he'll start putting the jewelry in the ground. Cool. Um, I don't know why this scene's there. Delete that. I don't need that. So covering the items up, cool. Now he's looking very contemplative and badass. Awesome. We'll keep that. I don't need another. Oh, he finds the other thing between. It remembered. It finds the other thing between the surface. He gets his perfume. He looks so cool here. No, but we need to. I want him looking a little more like. So maybe we'll use some tools here. For example, like I'm gonna get a different seed shot because I don't really like the seed shot. But as a note, if you want to just massage the details as we mentioned, you can do things like face expressions here. So maybe he's like too, I don't know, too like intense. So we can like lessen up the intensity. I don't want him smiling though. But So you can start to mess with the emotions this way. Determined maybe. That's a little better. And here we go. We can adjust the head position. That's pretty cool. So maybe you want them looking up a little bit. Awesome. Like that's and actually I think that's new by the way for folks that have seen that a little tooltip. But that's kind of what I wanted. But when I was looking at the bottle, it remembered that it's called LTX. Um, the chat has to tell me what they think the LTX perfume smells like. We gotta put that in there. Although LTX Studio can only handle right now audio and video, it cannot handle sound or smell just yet. But all right, I'm gonna delete this one. I don't really need it. Um, and I'm just gonna have the bottle. Well, okay. I'm just gonna have the bottle next to him. Oh, he can hold it, sure. Okay. And then he just stares at the sky turning. Okay. So we're getting close. Bear with me. And so far we've done this in just like 30 minutes or so. And we're already getting our draft. So I'll generate a few more bits of motion, then we'll let it play through. And I've got a few chats. Let me just read them real quick. Trying to stay on top of it. Um, Okay, so yeah, we got something about basically it smells like leather and gasoline. Deal, you win. Erling, good job. Okay, so I'll say we have a winner. Uh, cool. And then uh, G Balaji. So you're talking about like the character always facing. So we'll do something where he's like feeding a bird, and we'll show how to fix the issue with the if the character is always facing the front. I agree that is a problem. So I use different things to work around it. And I'll show you the composition tool. Basically, long story short, I'll just skip to this real quick. I'll pick something here. Okay, pick this one. Um, if you're really struggling with a shot composition, what I would do is, here, let me go back to that wildlife thing. I'll have them like feed the deer or something like that. One second. Where is that deer? Oh, here it is. So, okay, I'll say prompt Mark Thompson feeds. Actually, I'm gonna delete this real quick. I'm gonna just copy this one, duplicate. Um, I'll just say Mark Thompson feeds the deer visible near the car. Um, oops. Okay, cool. So actually, so you notice here it said point of view. I don't want a point of view. I'm just gonna do kind of like medium shot. And then so we'll show how to get like the precise composition you want. There's a few tools here. There's text, obviously, which is what we've been doing. And you've been seeing me go through and like cull down the project into my like overall view, but now we can start getting into the details. So for the precise details, actually that's kind of what I wanted. But let me do something. So this is what I did want, but let me get something where he's like standing further away. So maybe more of a wide. That's a little too wide. But let's say we wanted a picture of Mark feeding the deer, looking at the deer or something like that instead of facing the camera. Um, I agree. There can be some things like really frustrating when you have a specific shot in mind. That's actually kind of what I wanted to. But still, we're gonna pretend like I wasn't getting what I wanted, or maybe we had something really specific in mind. So here I'm just on Unsplash, which is like a image repository that is licensable. Like there's no restrict, it's open for use. So I'm just gonna say like person feeding deer. It might not have exactly what you want. I'm just trying to get a rough example. Maybe you wanted this. Here, let's say that this is kind of cool. Okay, so this is not what I was thinking, but if you want a specific shot, I'll take a screenshot of that one. We'll try that one. And then, okay, here, this is perfect. Um, we want something of him feeding the deer right outside the car. So going back to this, if we want him feeding the deer right outside the car, I can say um, Mark Thompson feeding the deer through the car window um, in the tranquil landscape. I don't really think I need the tranquil landscape part, but okay, let's see what we get. I'm zooming in just to make it easier. It's really, really thinking on this one. Okay, so that's not what I wanted, right? So what I can do here, if I need something different, you can use text. You can cycle through the seed, like I just cycled through the seed image. You can also use these tools to outpaint things away. So for example, here, if I wanted only one deer, for example, I can remove things here. So I can do remove objects. Maybe I'll remove this deer, for example. I'm not tracing it perfectly just for fast to be fast, but cool, that deer's gone. So you have these tools like Photoshop type tools, the text, but the composition can be a struggle. So here we're going to click this and create composition. So here if I click that, you can scribble something, but I cannot draw. So I'm not even going to try. I've tried before and it led to disastrous consequences. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screenshot. Here I've got the reference image. And note down here, you can have the prompt still. You can still tag the character, which is pretty cool. But you'll need to keep playing with it. So what I'm going to do is, there weren't mountains in my shot, so I'm going to take the mask and delete it because I don't really need the depth of like this. Um, and I also, well, I guess I could leave the horns or whatever. But so what you can do is you can keep playing with the strength of an image, and I'll show you here. There's other tools you can use. And what you can arrive at is like a preview. This is a preview on the right side of um, of your composition. So you can keep playing around with it. So, but what I want to call out here is you can use the perspective of the image, the lines, the pose, the colors. I'm going to use the lines here, just to get the exact lines of the image. And it's actually really, really strong here. I'm going to give it a little more leeway and then keep playing around with it to get what I want. So it's a mixture of using that and the this and the text on here. So it's forcing mark in the shot, I just realized. And so I delete, let me put um, feeding a deer through the car window, a tranquil landscape. Um, so not quite. Let me play around with it a little more. But you can see it's an iterative process. So I'm basically using um, the I'm using um, this prompt to get what I want out of the composition here. And I might tweak it a little more because I don't really need some of these things. Like I don't need the horns. It might be actually I don't need a lot of the stuff. So I'm gonna delete some of these things. Um, cool. So we're getting closer. But you can see it's like an iterative process of getting the shot that you want. And it's still thinking I'm going through the car window. So maybe I'm going to delete that and say feeding a deer via the car window. It's still thinking the POV is like that it's a POV shot and it's not. I'll keep playing around with it. But this is just trying to show that you can use a reference image and tools and you can layer stuff on top of it. So you can even add other images. So we're getting really close. I still think that it's trying to put something there that I don't need. So I'm gonna actually just make this bigger. Um, and it's kind of like PowerPoint, like you can use these tools to craft. So it's funny, look, speaking of, they released a new version, so if I refresh, we'll already see it. But here, see, I finally got there. Getting closer and closer. But this is just a highlight of the iterative process of taking a composition reference image. And I might even say here, feeding the deer a carrot. I hope they can eat carrots, right? I think that's fine. So let's just say also that I wanted to, there, we finally got it. So it didn't take me too long, but normally it's quicker, I'll be honest, and you can enhance it. This is just like a quick prototype of it. And so I'd keep playing around with this. Again, it takes me usually like 30 minutes to get the breadth of a project, and I can spend an hour on the details, but we got it. So that's what I was looking for. So I would say to answer your question, about like the details of a struggle with a shot, I would really use the composition tool to get to like eke out the right shot you're looking for. Cool. All right, so now that we have that, I'm just gonna click apply. This is not gonna work with my project, but I just want to show you. It's kind of incongruous in the project I made. And it also said that there was a update, so I'm just gonna refresh this because um, I think most of the stuff should be saved. That way, I just will use the latest and greatest because they're constantly putting out fixes and improvements. So why not? All right. So looking through here, I remember I had some things in the motion category that I hadn't picked yet. So if you go back here, remember we had our scenes. I hadn't really selected things. Um, this looks a little weird. This looks a little weird. So I remember someone asked about motion and getting the specifics of the motion that you were looking at. A few notes here. We showed the camera control, the intensity, the motion prompt. I showed that over here. These can all help. Keyframes are also really important. So I'll show an example. For example, like let's say um, when he digs out the actually let's do some cool shots. Let's just do some cool shots of the perfume. Um, 1 second. I'm gonna do the desert landscape location and um creating that. Oh, I'm gonna do the warm light thing. Um, okay, cool. This is fine. Um, and we're gonna take the just because I'm lazy about typing, I'm just gonna take the LTX gasoline perfume we have, and I might not have Mark Thompson hold it actually. I'm gonna say a weathered perfume bottle labeled LTX. Um, Delete that. And one side note, we talked about this before, but you can also try putting as a cast and character like the perfume bottle itself. And so it looks like Mark lost his clothes, by the way. We'll fix that. But you can add a character here and you can upload something specific. So I'll try it just real quick. And just so we can see, I'll just say a perfume bottle. Cool. Well, I don't want to use this one's nice and blank. We'll use that one maybe. Or, maybe a black one. See what else we got. This is nice, but I kind of want something by itself. Um, since I don't want to copy someone directly, I'm just gonna use probably one of the blank ones. Um, this one's a little hard to see too. Um, I'll just use something like this. So, okay, I'll go back to this blank one here. But yeah, if there's for composition, you can often cycle through and I spend a good amount of time like finding inspiration for that. Maybe we do want something more distinctive so you can actually see that it works. So just for purely the sake of trying to get something to like showing how something works, I'll do this. So I'm taking that just for edification. I'm not actually trying to create an ad here for that product. But I'm going to add a character. I'm going to say LTX perfume, and then perfume bottle. Um, I'll say golden. With a golden top. Perfume bottle with a golden top. So we'll make this a little easier moving forward, but you can also experiment with having and I don't want all this stuff, glass body. I don't need a floor, I don't need that, so I'm just gonna delete that. Um, so you can keep playing around. You can actually add a bottle like this, and I'll say it says LTX in bold in on the front. So you can play around with adding a product as a character. And we'll make that easier, but here we go. Cool, we got our LTX bottle. And so now um, when I call the product, I can go like this and say the LTX perfume in the sand. So I can call and reference a product that way. So from a commercial point of view, being able to have a little bit more consistency is important there. But there's a few notes here, like it's got this like rounded top in the LTX bottle there. Um, but again, you can still use the composition tool to get it exactly like you want. So you probably have imagery of a product in mind. It got it basically. I like the little skull there. That's funny. But you might want to also use the composition tool to get it even closer. And what I would do there is I would use the lines. So you could take something like this and use the lines of it to get it looking closer to what you want. So I might say, I'll do one more thing here. I'm a little skipping forward a lot, but I'll say um, LTX perfume, oops, on a bookshelf. And then I'll say a cool, third. personal, cool, whatever. I'm gonna let it just go crazy with this. It gave it way too much. I might need to look at that and reduce it. But I'll just show these real quick to show the composition thing. Oops, I don't want Mark Thompson on a bookshelf. That'll look weird. How about LTX on a bookshelf? Maybe an elf on a shelf. So we have the LTX perfume, and that's not really what I wanted. I maybe want like a close up. I think I put too much detail in the scene, to be honest. I should just let it breathe a little bit. But basically, what I would do is that's pretty good. Actually, that's pretty close to the bottle too. But what I would do is you can basically upload an image, and as strong or as weak as you want, um, you can. So, for example, here you can also, by the way, you can also put you can layer images on top of each other. So I might, for example, grab a bookshelf over here. I want like a close up though. Um, it's not bad. This is not what I was looking for, but just again, for the sake of moving quickly. So you can layer things on top of each other. Bear with me, it'll look weird for a while until I get there. Although it kind of did it here. So that's not what I was going for, but you can see it got the bottle composition and it was going for depth here, but if you go for lines, you can get it even more accurate. And again, I might take some stuff away from this um, just to give it some more flexibility. Because I don't necessarily need many lines here. But yeah, you can kind of use a mixture of creating the product um here and use the lines or just the whole thing. Like it's just using depth and everything about it. So not just the lines, because here it might mess up the coloring if you notice. But one other note I wanted to point out is that you can use multiple uh images. So I'm gonna upload one more here. So I'm gonna upload this library shelf. Um, one second. Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to do that. Let me redo this. Hit back, and then hit the selector tool. And then I'm going to make this more full bleed. Bring this over here. And then I'm going to, oops, bring this in and then make it smaller. These send it forward or backwards. So I'm sending this forward. And so if you notice here, like it's pretty cool how you can really mood board your shots now. See, I would take more care. Like I'm not really doing this carefully. Um, but you can see it there. So you can do more. And but here you can see me just like putting the product in situ, like in a situation I want. And I can enhance it once I get like the rough preview that I want. But hopefully you see the power here of composition. It really helps you exact that specific shot if you want to take the time to get it perfect. I've been spending time going for breadth instead of depth. But if you want to go for depth, you can really get that feeling that you're looking for if you take a little bit of time and care architecting the scene that you want. So I've got some chats. Let me just read those before I keep moving on. Um, let's see. Yeah, that's a great question, Erling. So, I have done that before, like adding the muscle car as a character. Here, let me answer this live. So that's exactly right. So let me just hit apply. Maybe this is like I would take more time to craft this to make it more in line with the vibe here. But one more thing you can do, let me show you before I go to the muscle car. You can go to personal library. If something a little more dark. One second. Hmm. Maybe um dark library. Okay, getting closer. Ooh, look at that interesting vibe. Um, see what else they got. This is where you can get down like a rabbit hole, getting exactly what you want. Those colors are kind of what I was going for. Let's do look. Okay, let's do one more. That's kind of cool. Let's do. This could turn into a webinar of you all watching me use Pinterest for an hour. So I don't do that too bad. Let's just go for this. It's not what I was looking for, but it'll just show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. So remember, you can still have these tools. I can do um, some pretty cool things around I can use the Photoshop tools to remove things I want. Um, go through here. I'll just do this but remember, I still have a style tool. So what I was trying to do is show you that I generated the composition I want with the depth and kind of mood boarding the product. But here I can also, again, still do style. I don't really, this wasn't really what I was going for, so I'm going to give it like a weak strength here. And you can still add like dark, gritty, oops, gritty, weathered. So you can still add this stuff, and that'll kind of influence the shot. Um, but I think when you start stacking these tools on top of each other, it's really just this unparalleled tool for precision storyboarding and concepting of something you want to produce. And more, you'll see that they'll get good enough to make it like ready for final pixels. So if you took the time to craft it, you can get there. So again, not what I wanted, because I didn't take the time to find that inspiration, but you can see it starting to get like that different look. And what I would do here is I would just play around with it. This is kind of a tough style to nail. But I'll show you two things. Like if you went really strong versus went weak, just a quick glimpse to how that impacts each other. I what I really would do here, we're running up a little bit on time, but what I would do is spend more time finding something that meshes visually, and because I'm kind of making it work too hard, meshing a style that's not exactly what I wanted. But look at the difference between this one and then if we remove the style completely, what it was before here. So the differences between the vibe is strong, and so you can use that to kind of go back and forth and push it in the direction you want to go. So even if you're creating a custom composition, you can still take a like screenshots from your other project and push them towards the vibe that you want to go to. So even here, like I'm zooming out so I can click undo, but here we have the kind of bland style, and then if I go back, we're getting that more kind of darker mahogany, whatever. So it's not the perfect thing, but it just hopefully you can see with composition tool, you can get almost precisely what you want. And then going back, I think Erling, someone said about the character, you can also add the muscle car. So muscle car. Funny note though, the face swap will only work for face. It will, unfortunately won't work for this, but use composition to get your shots closer to where you want to go, using either lines or depth, or even coloring, which you can do, which I'll show you. But I'll say black muscle car with I don't know, a spoiler back, something like that. Um, so basically, this can help you add. That's actually what I was looking for. It's pretty cool. Okay, the spoiler isn't really there, but that's what I wanted. Cool. So now we're getting man, even this cast just looks like a perfume ad, doesn't it? So now we're getting there, and then let me show you one more thing. Um, Prompt. I'll say muscle car driving away on the highway. So you can use that. Let me just delete this extra one. Delete. Um, I actually probably would keep the shot, but just redo the skull. I kind of like it. There we go. And then I'll do another one, but just from a different view. I'll do close up of muscle car driving away. There we go. So kind of dig it. Honestly, this looks like you name it, perfume company. Let me do one more there. And then what you can see, like the reason you can tell that these things are, and going back to the note, to get that right composition, again, I would just take a composition of a car driving on a highway like this, car on highway, and have the car facing me. So I would again just use the composition tool to get that precise shot you want. Since I already showed that, I'm not going to do it again. But to show you the powerful cast feature, which will make even better soon, you can change details, and that will update it everywhere. So that way, you can apply these changes to your project and make that more. It's kind of like coding where you're changing a model so that you can make one change and it's like replicated elsewhere. The more you work on a project, the more you might want to do that. Because now see here we have our red muscle car driving away. So it helps keep otherwise you're kind of doing everything custom for every shot. Um, so I'll say, um, I'll do one more close up of car. I want a face front. That's kind of cool. So let's do this. Oops, last one. So go to the composition tool. I upload an image. My desktop is just all random shots, and I have the depth here, and so I'd probably, like I said, I'd take time to find a good inspirational shot. I'd also probably take time to like, you know, if there's something I need to move out of it, take that away because there's lines in the shot I don't need, for example. But you can also put in like a highway. So I could scribble, but with the image, I could put a highway here, for example. So this is going to be not as great, but I would do it with an image. But you could put, let me actually shrink this car down a little bit. Um, and then I would do something like take an image and put the oops, restore. That's the restore button, sorry. Going back. So what I would do is I would basically just grab like a either a shot that has what I need by default from the composition, or you can just take like a highway shot, desert highway, and use that in concert. So I'd take this one, for example, oops, this one, add that here, image, the add image buttons over here, and then here's my highway shot. And then I'm going to drag it with the select tool, make this bigger and make the car smaller. Almost there. And then the car is going to be a little smaller. Oops. And then I'll move this forward, move this up. And I guess it'd be like right around here. And then remember too what you have here. So you got like the mountains in the background, for example, here, but I want more of the road. You can keep playing with both the image setting. But remember, right now it's doing depth, so it's getting just the overall depth. You have the big highway behind it, and then but if you want more of like the specific lines of the image, you can use that. And if you want just the coloring, for example, you can pull that out. The car's a little messed up, but we're actually getting closer to what I wanted. So I'm gonna keep playing with this a little more. So I'm looking at the text too, close up of muscle car driving on the highway. Um, and then let's let this load. You can kind of drag these back and forth, by the way. You know, I might just do this. Pull these both over here. I selected them both at once, if you noticed, and then just let it outpaint the rest. There, getting closer. So if I tweak this a little more, you can get there, but that's kind of what I was looking for. So enhancing this and then gonna let it go. So here you've seen we've got everything together. So I'll show a few more things and I'll play like a the preview from the beginning and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But if you have any other questions as I go then to play the preview, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna apply this. I'm not gonna let it go through the whole way, but just showing you some of the stuff we've done together, hitting apply, and then there's kind of a workshop down here of tools I just want to show. But again, what I would do here is now I've got my custom songs. I've got a lot of the motion. If I hit preview, I still have so many static shots. A lot of them are towards the end. So what I would do here is I remember we were picking different, like 4 different fast motion previews. I'd just select those ones, let them generate. But basically, as again, a tip, go through the project, let it go out, check out how that's crafting the scene breakdowns, delete shots you don't need, hit the previews so you can get the motion to see what the defaults are, and then use the quick motion previews, the 4 animated previews that autoplay in like a fast play mode. Use those to kind of cycle out of any glitches, and then you can kind of start to preview your project once you've got like the basics down to start to craft it and fine tune things like composition. So let's just play this and then we'll kind of wrap it up afterward. I'm not going to play it the whole way through. So as I play it through, I start to look for what I'd want to change. Like I'd touch up a bit there. The helicopter is good. The person's walking down. I might tweak the character walking. I might redo that hiking. I'll delete the yeah. I actually might have him playing faster. So honest about that. Got his officials. I forgot to generate that. So I generate that motion. That's enough. I probably delete these and now I'm start to drag away at this point. But the audience has gotten an idea, so I delete some of these technical shots. Maybe have him walk out to the car. That's a cool point of view shot. Happy acting, but I would point of view and have him walk down towards the car. Making sure that the lights going off the room. Then he starts driving. Maybe time it up with the music. He's driving out west now.
Motion's okay. These are static. I didn't generate these. At the bottom, I didn't generate those. So I put the motions we use, we talked about. And then this is just like the motions that I put in sort of the results. We were playing around with this. We didn't really generate too much. We were going through, and we didn't actually expect it to make previews. That was previews. But then it wraps up at the end with the scenes, going toward kind of the fade out of like the sky changing, etc. And then we just had some cool shots of the bottle at the end. So in like an hour, I'm getting a rough draft of like the of what I wanted my character to do, and I might use this to give to a creator to shoot for me. I might use it to pitch it to my boss, saying, "Hey, let's make something like this." But if you spend enough time, it will take several hours. But if you spend enough time, you can get this to like a working ready asset using things like composition, face swap to maybe like an AI model that you can have the consistency there of something unique. Um, and again, it just we went through some of these, but we didn't really go through the motion of everything. But you can adjust the clip lengths to get exactly what you want and tighten it up. And then, but in general, this is a way for you to get like a prototype of exactly your vision on paper. And more, we're helping you get to a point where you could use these for a final vision. And I have seen, by the way, I have seen some like 30-second, 15-second commercials that look great. And so we are going to be showing them soon. I think one of my favorite ones, one of our creative teammates, Yoav, will be showing a pasta ad he made, which looks legit. Looks like we have come so far from the Will Smith days. So there's a couple things coming up where we're going to show. This month we've been trying to show how to use LTX Studio for these commercial purposes. But really, what I wanted you to see is like a behind the scenes, how I'm approaching a project from the breadth and then going down to the depth, because we've kind of jumped around, but I wanted you to see a peek of like the craftsmanship of how you have to kind of whittle down a project from the starting point to arrive at the narrative you want and the final scenes you want. But hopefully there's a few new things here we haven't talked about, like uploading soundtracks. We haven't talked about kind of multi-image composition tool things before, and a few new things. So there's always some stuff releasing. We're always trying to incorporate those in this, but rehashing some of the basics as well. But I am really excited to say that by the next like tips and tricks, we should have some real like fundamental improvements to show you all. So that's going to be even better. And we will also be hosting some questions in the tips and tricks channel in Discord. So feel free to just drop some notes in there about whatever you want to see next, and we can use that to focus on the next sessions. But thank you all, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. See ya.